Hey guys, welcome into the show. My name is Tyler Kluver. I'm a former Division 1 athlete. I now run a fitness coaching business as well as a sports media brand that creates podcasts, sells merchandise, and creates other exclusive content. This show is a place for me to document my thoughts on fitness, health, nutrition, maybe some business or mindset stuff, as well as update anyone listening on my own competitive fitness endeavors and life events. I want everybody that comes and listens to this show to take something away that can make their life better, whether it's a diet or fitness tip or a way of thinking about things that motivates you to be better in your own life. Hopefully, we can get that done. But regardless, I'm glad you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. Here we are, Snap Podcast. And oh my God, the rebrand is coming. If you don't think the rebrand is coming, you're crazy. Okay. Because after I turned it around in my mind that this thing is going to be rebranded to the TK Pod, man, I look at this overlay on the YouTube. Go to the YouTube, by the way. If you just have like a YouTube channel that you don't use, you never log into, go to that channel, subscribe to this podcast, make it your throwaway channel. You don't want to clog. I understand the OCD of trying to keep the channels you subscribe to, the important ones, the ones you always want to watch, kind of curated in a list, and that's your subscription page on your main YouTube. If you got a second one, hey, make it your throwaway. Subscribe to the Snapped podcast right now. The TK Pod coming soon, and the rebrand's going to be fun. Now, is that throwing me into a whole new thing where I'm going to have to make a new overlay? I'm going to have to make a new logo. I'm going to have to not only that, but the rebrand that goes on with that also happens to be in conjunction with the rebrand to the personal fitness training. So that's a whole new logo, all that stuff. Yes, that means a whole lot of new work on imaging and language and graphics. It's okay. It's okay. More to do, but that's okay. Busy season is going to wind down here, which is great. We've had August, September, October, November. Really, we're 4 months into busy season here. We record this on Monday, December 2nd. Welcome to December. Kind of just generally, I feel like for everybody, maybe busiest time of the year. Right around that end of, especially if you're a football fan, especially if you happen to be someone, moi, who does a podcast around football and you decided to do 4 podcasts a week, 5 podcasts a week on that. We're towards the end of that grind. Okay, we had a good year, great time. That's fortunate for me in some ways, not so much in others. You take advantage of the seasons you're in. And the craziness that is content production is going to slow down a little bit, but the work picks up in other areas. Nonetheless, the rebrand will be part of that going into the new year. Not going to promise anything about like, hey, January 1st, 2025 is when the new branding comes out. We'll see. It'll probably be a January project, if we're being honest. Today doesn't have a huge topic, but I will talk a little bit about the holidays. I realized over the weekend or last week when this podcast dropped that I think the week before that I had talked about, we'll do our 3 tips for the holidays. Here's how you get around all this stuff. I might have even just briefly mentioned them in that, like when I talked about it. I don't remember if I said I was going to do a full episode on it. I have no idea. Again, my brain completely jumbled. We'll go over it very quickly today. I'm not going to hash it out. There's 3 things around the holidays, and I realize you're listening to this after the week of you just stuffed yourself full of turkey, mashed potatoes, and a whole bunch of other stuff, pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. These tips are no longer useful for that time. However, isn't it all kind of just combined, right? You start the Thanksgiving run of going to families' houses or hosting people, going to the Friendsgivings, then you just go all the way through New Year's, right? This time of year, proven that of the weight you gain during an entire year, the last week of November through January 1st, you gain half of that weight in that 6-week period. Might even be more than half of that entire year's worth of weight you put on. Now, hopefully, you're not putting on weight. If you listen to this show, I hope you're on the other side of things. You kind of got things under control. But if you don't, if you need some tips, here's what we got today from, you know what? I'll just call it the TK Pod. Okay. Number one, you're going to want to implement fasting. If you don't already, you're going to want to implement fasting as a calorie saving strategy. What does that mean? What does that look like? Okay. So for me personally, I eat what I would call 4 meals a day. I eat a breakfast, a lunch, a post workout snack slash refuel called a refuel, and a dinner. Okay. In those meals, I get somewhere between, I would say right now, it's probably 35 to 4,000 calories. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. I haven't been tracking. Intuitively, I know the number's somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000. So I know that I can run on 4,000 calories a day. Now the issue becomes when you get to a Thanksgiving day, you know you're going to have a massive meal. You also might be traveling to that Thanksgiving and you still eat the other meals because you're hungry. Your body's not going to just magically understand hunger signal wise that you're eating one massive meal with desserts and unlimited buffet options later in the day. So you eat that breakfast, you still eat that lunch. And it might be crappy food because you're on the move. You're grabbing from a gas station or you're taking something to go. So you eat the same amount of calories at breakfast, the same amount of calories at lunch. You get to the Thanksgiving dinner, and then you double that meal size or more because you have all the options, all the desserts, yada yada. You do it again the next day or the following, 2 days later. You might have 2 or 3 Thanksgivings. You feel like crap over that entire weekend, and mentally, routine wise, you feel like you've completely ruined progress. Right now, I might just be talking in past tense here. This could be you, right? Again, not going to help you for Thanksgiving, but for the next few weeks when you're getting together with family, the Christmases start to happen, maybe a New Year's party, implement the fasting. You skip breakfast, even potentially skip lunch, and you just use that massive meal, that company Christmas dinner or XYZ, your family get together, as the only meal of the day. It is damn near impossible, even if you're low calorie, even if you're a smaller woman who's got things under control and you only eat, 1,600 to 2,000 calories a day. Gonna be very, very difficult to eat that many calories in one sitting, or eat over that amount. You might be able to match it. You're not gonna be able to go over it. Same thing for me. My total calories in a day, 4,000. I can do damage like anybody can at a Thanksgiving or a Christmas dinner. I'm not gonna touch 4,000 calories unless it's just pure ice cream front to back, and that's never the case. Um, so implement fasting, that can help, right? And if you know your numbers, if you sort of know calorie wise, like, hey, I didn't eat breakfast, I didn't eat lunch, I am gonna eat a massive dinner, but in the end, it's gonna equal out. Mentally, you can kind of feel good, even if you physically don't feel good. You go into that food coma of the numbers still work out. I'm not gonna gain any crazy weight from this weekend. My body shouldn't be too damaged or experience too many negative side effects from this one massive meal or multiple massive meals. So fasting, take advantage of it. Secondly, and you can kind of combine it, go for the protein, man. Go for the protein. Okay. And you could even sort of hybrid the fasting model where you still eat during the day because you're hungry, right? I understand, like, that's part of the fasting deal is you got to fight off the hunger cravings. Okay, just go for fruit and protein. Eat meat or Greek yogurt or cottage cheese or some kind of protein, jerky, whatever it may be, and fruit. Very low calorie for the volume that's going to fill your stomach. You will be held over. The protein's going to be, muscle positive, muscle promoting. Um, you're going to have, you're going to be able to eat calories now. You're going to have a little less to gorge on that massive meal, but now you're also going to have stuff in your stomach throughout the day that makes you less hungry when you get to that big meal. Okay, so but then when we So that's how you would combine that in the hybrid model of the fasting and the protein. But then also, when you get to that meal, always start with the protein. Always. Turkey, ham, most likely going to be the meats on your plate. Eat those first. And I know this is hard and very weird to do, but if you wanted to really take this to the extreme, go get a plate of whatever vegetables or fruits are around. There's always fruit, right? Strawberries, some oranges, grapes, whatever, watermelon. Go grab those. Put those on your plate. On the plate with the turkey and the ham. Eat all of that. Sit and wait, because everybody's sitting around. The other room has the food in it. It's got all the food's staying out. It's gonna be there. And again, this is for in a couple weeks from now, because again, we're more relevant for Christmas time now, but the food's gonna be there, right? Wait for that protein and some of the fruit and veggies to hit your stomach. Wait for your body to give you the true hunger signals. That's the reason we overeat. That's a large reason why we overeat in general on a day-to-day basis, just not around the holidays. Is because we've engineered food and our societal culture in a way in which we are go, 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 shove everything down. Everything tastes unbelievably good. It's manufactured to make you want more, not feel and not listen to your own hunger signals. And we eat, and by the time our stomach finally tells us we're full, we've already eaten past that level, and it gets worse for another 5 or 10 minutes. So let that protein hit and then go for the carbs, right? Because at that point, you're going to be like, oh God, I'll have a little bit of the potatoes, a little bit of the mac and cheese, well, whatever it is. I have room for one dessert instead of six. Okay. So fasting, protein. And then the third one is you got to move. Move a little bit. It's going to make you feel so much better. Easiest way to do this. And I know, again, you're going to be the weirdo. You have to be the weirdo sometimes. You get up from the meal, you go take a 10-minute walk. Hard to do in the Midwest. I get it. It's cold. It's cold outside. Fucking snowed today. I'm going out to shovel here as part of my warm up for the afternoon training session. I you got to move. You got to move. Your muscles are the best glucose processing machine on your body. Okay, they store it and they use it. But if you just let it sit there and you don't use all of that energy that you just consumed, you're going to feel like shit. And maybe done once or twice, it's not going to be the end of the world. But over time, that is how you put on body fat. You have excess energy that you consume. You don't use it, your body stores it. It's that simple. Fasting, protein first, move your body. 10-minute walk after the meal, put on the sweatshirt, walk 5 minutes away from the house, walk back. You're good to go. There's your TK Pod holiday fitness and nutrition tips. I've got a couple other things to talk about today. Just some stuff around the holidays. Black Friday just happened. It's unbelievable what consumerism around shopping is, in Black Friday and Small Business Saturday and Cyber Monday, and then it's Travel Tuesday. Like, the deals start the Thursday or Friday before Black Friday, and then they go all week long. Monday hits, and you're full on Black Friday week deals, right? It's Black Friday week, then it's actual Black Friday. That goes through the weekend, Small Business Saturday, so you got a bunch of small business, but then you hit Cyber Monday, and Cyber Monday week has turned into its own thing. You got deals for more than 2 weeks. And I'm not gonna say I didn't participate. It's just nuts. It blows my mind. And this has nothing to do with anything, but one of my old hobbies, this is the only place I could talk about this. One of my old hobbies has been reignited. Not fully, but when I was, ooh, actually started around Christmas time. I think it was Christmas, my 6th or 7th grade year in school. We went to my extended family's Christmas. That is the one where it's not just you and like your grandparents and your cousins. It's like your dad's or your mom's grandparents and all of their cousins, and then down the family line. So it's like the second cousins that you don't really know, but you see once a year. I was at that Christmas. And I got, the gifts at that Christmas are not nearly as meaningful. Everybody gets like one. There's many a times you're doing the grab bag thing. Well, I got a Rubik's cube that year. Somebody thought, "Oh, he's a middle schooler. Maybe give the kid a Rubik's cube," right? I sat and played with that thing, tried to figure it out for the entire 4 hours that we were there. And that sparked a hobby of mine. At first, it was just an interest, a challenge. Hey, I'm going to learn how to solve the Rubik's cube, which then turned into the hobby of cubing, the nerdiest hobby on earth potentially. Collecting Rubik's cubes, different sizes, different shapes, all the way up to as many layers as you can get. The triangle one, the fucking Mega Minx, all of them, right? And collected a lot of cubes, probably upwards of 100 different ones. I mean, I probably have, if I had to count, I would guess that I'm in the $1,500 to $2,000 range spent on Rubik's cubes and similar puzzles, lifetime. And I took them to college. I had them in like the big bottom drawer of my college desk. Yeah, people really thought I was cool when they came over and saw that those were in there. And then they traveled with me to my house, and now they, went basically into a backpack, 2 backpacks worth, and into storage for the last really 7 years of being an adult. Haven't really had them out. I have one on my desk that I keep out that I play with. And somebody, it was in the walk-on Discord, had gotten into it. They started learning how to solve it, and it reignited my passion. I got them all out, started playing with them. Now little Kin Diesel, the little 2-year-old little girl that we have, is now obsessed with them, stacking them on top of each other, knocking them down. And so I got back into it. I'm like, well, it's the Christmas season. Maybe I should buy my first cube or two in a while. And the technology of cubes since I've been in it, because the whole thing was like, well, you start with the Rubik's Cube, but then you realize it's not the fastest one. It's actually built horribly. And if you get the Chinese versions, they are actually built to go fast. They're called speed cubes. And the entire industry of speed cubes is essentially, how can we keep evolving this technology to make them go faster and faster so that the people who are trying to solve them for time can get the best times available. And boy, putting your head, getting out of it for 8 years and then coming back, I got my first cube order that I've purchased in 10 years basically in today, and I popped them out of the box quick. One of them was one of the better 3 by 3s on the market right now. Not like the best, but a good one. Um, and then a 7 by 7, which was on sale. And the 7 by 7, there was maybe 2 or 3 brands that sold a 7 by 7 back when I was into it. Now, there's probably 12 or 15 different branded options of a big cube like that, and you just were glad that a 7 by 7 was possible back then as far as the physical design of it. You didn't, the turning was when they started to get a little bit better, you're like, "Holy smokes." I tell you what, the turning on this I mean, this is, again, the nerdiest conversation, but the technology has made these cubes unbelievable. And I had a moment with both this, and there's some other things happening, with gaming, like, Pokemon games, old, just Game Boy games in general, Sega, the old school games of the '90s and 2000s that are now on, like, these, you can just buy it straight off the TikTok shop, physical emulators. I used to play, like, computer emulators, um, like in the 2010s, but now they have just made cheap, like, physical, tangible Game Boy game emulators you can buy for 50, $100, not even, and you can play 10,000 old games that's already loaded onto the game, any Pokemon you want. It's fucking absurd. And so 2 of my favorite childhood hobbies, cubing and gaming, have just been ignited, like, the technology and where we've come in the last decade. They're cheap and available and accessible, and it is like, I just had a moment this morning of, this is what 17 years ago Tyler would have fucking dreamed of. Like, if I had big boy adult money to spend on the stupid fucking hobbies that I have, I could just buy as many cool Rubik's cubes and games and consoles as I wanted. And that time is literally here. It's literally here. It's amazing. Um Not a whole lot of CrossFit stuff going on. I did the open workout from this year yesterday on Sunday. I wanted like 20 minutes of fitness. Said, fuck it. We'll do a couple squats to warm up and then we'll just hit 24.1. And that was the dumbbell snatches and lateral burpees over the dumbbell workout. I think I did it in like 7:42, fully warmed up, game day, ready to go, like all that stuff back in the open. I was also prepared for the open back then. I'm full off season, thick boy, strong mode. Still setting a ton of PRs. I hit a 405 back squat the other day. That was maybe my best 405 back squat ever. Um, I hit a 325 power clean the other day. Uh, PR, never done that before. I casually this morning, Monday, wasn't feeling great, didn't warm up great, hit a 300-pound split jerk just to get to a heavy single. So I'm doing things I've never done before strength wise. Cardio is still a little bit not there. We're 3 months out from the open. And I ran that workout in 8:34. So we're about 50 seconds behind where I was back then. And I'm going to I don't feel bad about that because there's 3 or 4 different excuses that I could use of why I'll be better in February, March, and, we got the fitness in, it was all good. Disc golf updates are gonna be pretty much gone, from these podcasts now, until probably March, January, February, March. Yeah, April. I still do plan on competing in a couple Iowa tournaments, next year. I put enough time in that I think I could, play somewhat well. I've put enough money into building a bag and buying discs that I think I could play well. And that did not stop on Black Friday. All of the disc shops online were having their deals. So I got my brother uh some discs. I got myself 3 new discs. Like I'm just out of control. I'm fucking out of control. The Instagram ads, all the ads online, they listen to me and they get me. And that's just where we're at. So that's an update on the TK pod. All things Tyler Kluver. Glad you're here. Take those fitness and nutrition tips to heart, maybe. See what you can do with those. We'll continue to update you guys on the competition, my own training through the rest of this year. We have 1 month left. Probably what? So this comes out on the 4th. So we'll have the 11th, the 18th, the 25th. Christmas Day, we'll have a pod come out. And then I think the first of the year, we'll have a podcast come out as long as I record it. So, and there's a decent chance I'd probably take a break in there somewhere. So maybe like the 8th, we'll have the first podcast, the first TK pod come out. But yeah, we're going to keep going with this thing. Just a personal Tyler Kluver audio log of my life. We appreciate you being here, learning stuff along the way, learning with me, having fun. Go be a savage. Get your workout in today. Don't be soft. We'll talk next week.